Good afternoon. This is a chart of the weekly DAX. I can see I've got a lot of scroll all over it, but all will be clear when I take you over to the daily chart. I've been saying for quite some time now on the DAX, and it isn't a market I like, love, trade, or whatever, but even I cannot ignore this big head and shoulder pattern. You know, I mentioned it last week. I've mentioned it through the week. My view hasn't changed on it. My concern is that we're looking slightly to turn on these stochastics on the weekly chart, but it hasn't yet. We've got our rate of change that is below the zero line, which is always good. RSI is neutral. Okay, so we really do need to pump for levels. Ignore all these little bits until I go to the daily chart. Just concentrate on this here. The right shoulder is made up of a double top. The head is made up of a double top. We don't know what that's made up of, but it made it up anyway. So now let's take you over to the daily chart and we can see this in a little bit more depth. Now, we're just concentrating on this bit for the time being. I'm not saying forever, but just for the time being. You can see last week's high of 126.37 was held basically by the 50% Fibonacci, which came in at 126.46. Not spooky at all, but worked. If you look at these two moving averages here, okay, we're looking here at the lows of 124.94 on the week, and on Friday you can see that the 9 and 21 day moving averages came in respectively at 124.70, 124.88. So it held. Now if we look at the daily indicators, you can see that the ROC is above the zero line, RSI neutral, stochastics, well, they're not really doing a lot. So what we're interested in is price only the price. Now with the weekly low being 126.37, you can see over here that the 38.2 Fibonacci level from that whole move up there is at 126.39. So there's where your resistance came from. It came from that little top there, that Fibonacci there, and that one creeping in at that place there. Now for the week, your weekly pivot is 12.522. Okay, your daily pivot for tomorrow is 12.539. There's not a lot of difference in the pivot points, so look at that 12.539, 12.522 area. Can we tie anything else in with it? You know, can we find a moving average that maybe is going to hold it? No, I can't really see one. So those pivot levels that I've given you are really quite important. I've given you them out to the R4 on both the weekly and the daily. If anybody wants them, please, you know, feel free to contact me and I'll just post them over to you. Most of them are always put on my group, not necessarily emailed out, okay, because most of the people I email to are on my group. So I think that this is going to be quite a decisive week. If we look at the 55-day moving average, that is coming in at 127.21, with the 200-day moving average coming in at 127.79. So if we do manage to break for that 126.46 area, can we tie them in with pivot points, with the moving averages? And we can. You know, if we look at the daily R3, we're coming in at 12.711. Okay, we look at the weekly one around that area, we've got the midpoint between the R1 and the R2 coming in at 12.716. So there's a lot to play for here. You need to use these pivot pivot points that I send you, you need to use them in conjunction with the Fibonacci levels, with chart support and resistance levels, with, if you like, pattern recognition. You do need to do that. It's very important, especially for this week, because this week is probably the last full week that we're going to have before the silly season starts. Anyway, I hope you have a great time tomorrow, and any questions, please feel free to Skype me.